Okay, in this segment we're going to demonstrate the gun stock repair and restoration kit. This kit includes everything that you need to repair nicks, dents, scratches, you name it, in a wood stock that has a little more than just scratches, minor scratches, or has a higher gloss, or has a standard gloss, or whatever. Anything you need to do to touch up anything and repair anything is in this kit. Now, what you're going to get is you're going to get a filling knife. Okay, that's going to be used to melt your filler stick into it. You'll see us demonstrate that. You're going to get 5 basic colors. You're going to get black, dark brown walnut, medium brown walnut, an oak, and a mahogany. Those 5 colors mixed together will repair any colored gun stock that's on the market today. You're going to get your top coat, which is for your standard finishes, anything from an oil, a lacquer, or a shellac. You're also going to get the high gloss, which is, of course, for guns like this one here that are very bright and shiny and glossy, like your Brownings and the other guns like it. And then you're going to get the Renew also. So you get everything that you're going to need to really basically train yourself to become a professional stock repair person. Now, we're going to get started on this one. This one is a standard repair for the high gloss. Anytime that you scratch a high gloss finish, you're going to get white marks. The reason for it is that most high gloss finishes are actually polyurethane. Polyurethane is a plastic. When you scratch plastic, plastic turns white. So we're going to get started repairing this big gouge in here, and you'll see that it goes relatively quick once you know how to basically do it. I don't suggest that you start out on high gloss. I suggest that you start out on semi-gloss, flats, things like that on those colored finishes. So let's get started on this. What we're going to do first is we're going to make that white go away. So we're going to just scrape out a lot of that white that's in there. Now we're just going to cut the finish out. We're not going to take the wood itself out. The reason we're going to take that out of there is because the less we have to touch up, the easier the repair is going to be. So we're basically taking your chisel on an angle. You're just going to cut the white edges off of that. Just about there. Now we're going to have less to touch up, because what happens, you can see we've taken a lot of that white out of there. What happens now is when we take our Renew and we spray our Renew onto that, that brings the color back, so we don't have to do a lot of touch up on it. Now we're going to take a 220 grit sandpaper and we're going to smooth that out, because when you scratch it, it actually raises up along the edges. So we want to be able to fill that so we get a smooth fill. So we're going to sand that down so that our repair is going to be a nice level fill on there. Now we're going to scuff the entire finish with a 220, just lightly. That's going to give our finish a little something to bite onto when we put it on. Okay, now, as I said, we've got 5 basic colors. We've got black. For this one, we're going to be using black, dark brown, extra dark or dark brown walnut, the medium brown walnut, and the mahogany. So we're going to put a little black down. We're going to put a little brown down. Now I like to, just throughout the years, I've gotten into a format of how I like to lay my colors down. I like to go brown, black, and red on the bottom. And then if you're going to use any other colors, put those colors off to these heights here, because those are the ones you use the least of. So if you get into that habit, as you're dipping your brush to do the touch-up, you'll automatically go brown, black, and red. Okay, we're going to take some pencil brushes here, and we're going to take top coat. Now, as I said, this is a high gloss finish, but we're going to use top coat to put the touch-up spots onto the wood. So we're going to dip our brush. We're going to go brown, black, and very little red. You want to use very, very little red. You'll be surprised how much red actually does pop out. So you don't want to go too light. Keep adding a little bit of red until you get to the color that's going to be the color of the wood that you're touching up. So we want to just touch those white spots up. We're going to dab those on there. We don't want it to look painted. So wherever the white is, that's what we're going to touch up. Now we're going to give that just a couple of seconds to dry. Always use some denatured alcohol to clean off your brush when you're done. Your brush will get real hard otherwise, hard to work with a stiff brush. Okay, now we're going to let that dry for just a few seconds. Now, you're going to get a filler knife, and you'll see on a lot of my videos that I use, it looks like a little yellow oven. Well, that's what it is, it's an oven. I put 2 knives in there, and those 2 knives are constantly hot. But what I do with the kit for beginners is all you need is just a torch like this with a small propane case on it. Get yourself a little plate to put your knife on when you're not using it. You don't want to scorch anything or burn anything. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to heat the knife. Now you don't have to heat it very long. Just a couple of seconds. We're going to take our filler stick. You see how that melts that? It melts down real fast. Now, what I didn't do is I didn't remind you to put a towel on, take your belt loops, tuck it in, and then you've got something that you can use to clean your knife. Always clean your knife when you're in between adding more filler or spreading it. So now we're going to fill this in. You want to start further away from your repair and draw yourself down straight. Don't put a lot of pressure on it, let the heat do the work. You want to pull it away from where your repair area is. Now, if you see that you've got tiny little bubbles in where your repair area is, you want to refill that. Otherwise, those bubbles will show up. There we go. Now, you'll see, I hope you can see, the repair stops right there. So there's still a little gouge. So we just need to add some more into it. Again, start at the end and work your way down. You want to carry your fill all the way down to the bottom. There we go. So we've got our repair filled. Now, we just want to scrape off the excess from around where we drew it past our repair. When you're doing this, let the chisel do the work. Just use your finger as a guide. Otherwise, you're going to gouge into the finish. You're going to have to make some more repairs. This takes a little bit of practice, but you'll get it. Okay, now we're going to take our Renew, and we're going to spray our Renew on it. Take a 400 grit sandpaper. So we've got our repair filled. But we can still see that it's a little, now it's a little darker along the edge. So what we're going to do is we got our three basic colors here. We're going to take just a piece of the t-shirt material. Now we're not going to use a brush for this. For this we're going to use our cloth. And we're going to regrain that piece, that spot where we filled it. So you can see it's a little more brown. It's got a little black into the graining area there. So we're going to start out just on the edge. Wipe that down. Now we're just gonna brush over it. Now we're going to need a little more red in there. We're gonna regrain that so that we lighten up that spot. But you want to go past the spot that you're repairing. So you want to blend it into the rest of the graining on the stock. You don't want to have any serious stop marks. There we're just going to dab because we don't want to get too much of a color chasing down. There we go. So we've got the repair done, but now we want to just tint the whole thing to match. No one will know that you've tinted it anymore, but you will. That doesn't matter. So we're just going to add just a little dark on that. There we go. So now we're going to blend that. We're going to kind of tint it all into one. Brown where we did our repair, a little darker. We're going to make that grain pattern look like it's coming back up. There we go. Okay, now on this side, we've also got a scratch. Okay, now on this one, instead of using our brush, we're just going to run a little bit of color from cloth into that scratch. Because that's running with the grain, we can actually color that in. We'll let that dry for a second, and then we'll fill it once it dries. Okay, so now we're going to take our knife. Again, we're going to go with the grain, with the scratch. Never go against the scratch, always go with it. Now the color that we put in there is going to sit under our repair and put that color in underneath the repair. Now remember, when you're using your knife, don't apply a lot of pressure and start way behind it, flatten it out, and then lift it up. So you want to go flat and then up. Make sure you're doing steady strokes. If you don't do steady strokes and you get a stop mark in there, that's just another repair that you're going to have to do. So actually, when you get to the end, lift it up like an airplane going off the runway. We're just going to scrape off the excess. Our Renew. Spray it with that. Take our 400 grit sandpaper. We're going to sand that down so that it's level. You'll be able, if you take your finger, this finger underneath your sandpaper fingers, and you follow that through, you'll be able to feel if you have any high spots. If you have any high spots, you're going to feel those and you'll be able to see them once you put your finished coat on it. Okay, Now, we still have a little white spot there, so we're just going to take care of that one too. Again, we're going to go just a little bit darker and kind of match that into the grain pattern of this. So we're going to see our grain pattern comes this way. That's the way we're going to work it. Just like that. All right. So this side is dry. We're going to buff this out a little bit. This side will be dry enough now. Very lightly buff it. You don't want to pull your repair out of there. All right. Now we're going to take our high gloss. Now the high gloss takes a longer time to dry. I'm going to have to. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our high gloss and we're going to put our high gloss in a separate container. Make sure we got a clean container. I use these for all different sorts of things. Oh, we're going to pour our high gloss in a little container here. And again, we're going to take now on the high gloss, don't mix the two. So always start with a fresh piece when you're doing your finished coat on your high gloss. Now this one does not have a butt plate on it. We repaired both sides. So what you want to do is make sure you've got a piece of cardstock that you can set it on when you're doing your work. Now make sure you got all the dust off of it. Just going to dab it in there. Let it soak up pretty good and then just dab it up on the paper. And we're just going to apply it. Now only go up to around the checkering. Then go around the checkering. Always run in straight strokes on this. Don't have any stop marks, or you'll see where you've done your repair. So we're just going to put one coat on here. After it dries, in a few hours, it'll dry exactly the way it looks right now. But we'll put a few coats on it. But this is just our first coat, and it'll give you an idea of how it's going to look when we're finished. Now to make sure that we've coated everything, we're going to want to take it and hold it up against the light. And if you see any stop marks or any dull spots, you'll know that that's a spot that you missed. I've got a spot right there. Believe it, I've been doing this a long time, and I still run into spots that I miss. That's why I make it a habit to get into double checking where you applied your top coat, or your high gloss top coat. There. Anyway, that's a repaired stock that we've done that had the high gloss and it had the chips and scratches in it. So we're going to let that dry. After it's dry, we're just going to repeat the same process with the high gloss again. And at the end, once it's all dry and you're done putting all your coats on it, put as many coats on as you feel are comfortable with it, that it really looks like it's back to the original. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's a few more. But when it does, after you're done letting it dry, you get the final coat on it, and you feel that it's got a little bit of dust on it, just take the back of a piece of 400 grit sandpaper and just rub that onto there, and that will cut down any of that dust that was in the air. So that's the demonstration of the complete kit, and with this kit you can do any gun that was ever made. So we hope you've enjoyed this one. Thank you.